And we're live. We're live. Building an audience for me. Super. Get some water, and this could be a long one. Sorry for, well, no one's on, so I'll kind of wait till somebody actually joins in. Nick Conrad, how are we, sir? How are you? Nice of you to join. Sorry, I'm going to hold on. Well, we got 5 people live, so I guess we'll go live. Guys, I apologize for the late start. Usually, hi, Val. Usually I'm a little earlier. Today, my client, I had a prospective client, things went longer than expected, and I had some connectivity issues. And with this chapter being, I think, a vitally important one, I wanted to make sure I did everything right. And so for those folks who have not seen any of my videos, Tone, what's going on, bud? The premise is usually I get on in the morning and we do some motivation. Cindy, Shooter, great video yesterday. I loved it. That was awesome watching the babies dancing. There's going to be no dancing here right now anyway. But so what I can do is in the morning, normally it'll be I'll talk about something. Anthony, what's up, cuz? Something motivational to get your day out on the right foot. Today's a little later, but for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be doing a chapter of the book that I'm writing or in the process right now of editing. And I'm going to do a discussion or a little bit on each chapter leading up so that you have an idea of what, good morning, Cindy, a little bit of what the book's about and why you might want to purchase it. And in the first, what's up, Micah? And the first chapter was about, each chapter in the book is based on, the book is about music and how it helped me get through a tough period in my life. I think it's a book that everyone can relate to. We all love music. And each chapter's title is based on a song that helped me get through it. And chapter 1 was, we'll do a quick recap. Chapter 1 was Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that the words in that song that were, I didn't ever want to feel like I did that day. For me, that was kind of like my rock bottom. I've had many of them, but that was like it. Like, okay, enough's enough. Chapter 2 was Dave Matthews Band, Rhyme and Reason. And in that song, it talks about just being in a dark place. It talks about, they talk about the pain and wanting the pain to go away and being 6 feet underground, which for anyone that's battled depression or had any thoughts of suicide or just feeling of not being worthy, you can relate to that song. And that was a place where I did not want to be, but it was a place that I was too close for comfort for me. Chapter 3 we talked about yesterday was DMX's Lord Give Me a Sign, and I was looking for a sign, and I got a sign in my family and friends pouring support, in praise about how good I was and that I was better than I was giving myself credit for and all that good stuff, that when you're in that frame of mind, it doesn't matter because you can't see through it. Bruce, what's going on, sir? And I got to come and see you, by the way, Bruce. But anyway, and then the sign that I got was one that I really, none of us wanted. It was a sign that when a friend died by suicide, and that just kind of hit home in that it was too close for comfort, and I was too close to being quite possibly the next person, and I didn't want to be there, and nobody should want to be there or should have to be there, but when you're in that frame of mind, how do you get out of it? And for me, this book is about how I used music to help me get out of that frame of mind and change my mindset completely. And I didn't want to shortchange today's chapter because if you've read the hashtags, this is probably one of the most important. And guys, and I always forget this because I just get into it and I go off on tangents. And anyone that knows me, it takes me like 2 hours to say goodbye to people and I hug and kiss everyone. But if you can either share this, like it, share it out is the biggest thing that you can do for me to kind of spread the word. I want to try and help as many people as I can. And if you guys, the more people that see it, the more people that it can affect, and the more people that can actually relate to it. So anyone that does, I appreciate it. And if you don't, well, I appreciate you also. But that's the way that we can spread the message and spread the word and get people to hopefully feel better about themselves. But anyway, I do know that you meant that. That autocorrect, Bruce, is brutal. My buddy Bruce Maurer there. But chapter 4 is about a childhood idol of mine. Even when most people were not, and he wasn't in favor, MJ, Michael Jackson. I'm still a little guy, but when I was a real little guy, I would play his cassette tape. And for those of you that aren't sure or familiar with what a cassette tape is, Google it. But I would put my Michael Jackson cassette tape in the boombox, and I would play MJ, and I loved him. And all of these songs came to me. I was in a reflective state for a few months, and all these songs that were on my through my library just played. And as they played, one of the songs that are in this book resonated with me. The words resonated with me because I was able to relate to them. And this one really hit home. Chapter 4, Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson, is probably, if not probably, it's, probably. It depends on each person, but the most important chapter in the book. And it was the most important chapter for me because I was looking for answers. I was looking for, why was I the way I was? Why did I make the mistake, continue to make the mistakes that I made? Why wasn't I able to gain control of my life? And I was looking for all these answers. And now while I wasn't literally blaming other people for my mishaps or my mistakes or my fortunes, I wasn't accepting responsibility for them either. And internally in my head, well, if it wasn't for this scenario, well, if my parents, we didn't struggle as a kid or this or that, or if maybe if I was in a different, if all these different scenarios, and I wasn't blaming others per se. In chapter 1, I talk about people, places, and things, and if you're struggling with either drugs, alcohol, food, whatever it is you might be struggling with, the people, places, and things, they say anyone that's been through a program that you should stay away from. However, it's not the people, it's not the places, it's not the things. Yeah, you want to avoid them if you can't say no. At the end of the day, though, and this is what this chapter did for me, it was like an anvil falling from the sky and hitting me and just crushing me and saying, look, here's your answer. Napoleon Hill said it in his book Think and Grow Rich, and I've read it a couple times, and it really makes sense. He says that no man or woman can achieve permanent success until he looks in the mirror to find the cause of all of his mistakes. And how many of us do that? How many of us look in the mirror and accept responsibility? Until you accept responsibility, you might not necessarily be blaming others, but how many of us accept responsibility? Because at the end of the day, the only person responsible for where I was, what I was doing in life, the attitude that I had in life was myself. It wasn't my parents, it wasn't my boss, it wasn't my job, it wasn't my friends, it wasn't the drugs. It wasn't any of that. And I had a woe's me, self-pity kind of attitude. And it wasn't until I was listening to this song, and I tell the story of kind of what happened in the book, but it wasn't until then that I really realized, okay, this is your problem. It has nothing to do with anyone else. There's something on Facebook that's out there, and it's pretty, I think it's relevant. But it goes and it talks about having an alcoholic father, and there's twin sons, and one becomes an alcoholic and the other one doesn't. And you got two people under the same circumstances. One plays the victim mentality, and it talks about perspective. But at the end of the day, yeah, you might be prone, both of them were just as prone to becoming an alcoholic. One does, one doesn't. Why not? The choices we make, how we perceive ourselves. I had a picture in my room that I gave to my younger brother, and it said, the choices we make, not the chances we take, determine our destiny. And that's so true, because it doesn't matter where you came from, because there's people that came from extreme poverty that did extremely great things. There's people that were born into privilege that become, homeless and on the street. It really does not matter. We are the only ones responsible for what it is we do. The one thing, so many things in life we don't have control over, but we try to control them, and I did the same thing. And this is what it was. This is what it was for me. Man in the Mirror talks about looking at the man in the mirror and changing yourself. We all want things to be different. I say it quite frequently. Enrique, what's going on? I love you. Enrique, if you don't know Enrique, I'll share his reality show. He's a great guy, positive attitude. I love him. Chad, what's going on? But man in the mirror is that man in the mirror, the person that we look at each and every day. Good morning, brother. I know all things are going well down in Florida for you. That's awesome. I wish I had some good news for you, but we'll keep you posted on that. But anyway, guys, I know I'm getting off and I'm a little long-winded, but it is just, that is the biggest thing, the biggest reason why we're not where we are in life. It has nothing to do with anyone else, and everything to do with the person that we look at every day in that mirror. And if you don't like what you see, I did not like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. I did not like it. So if I didn't like it, I had to change it. But how do you change it? How do you change? We might know that something's not right, but how do we change it? And for me, the music helped me change my mind. It helped me change. It gave me a better understanding of who I was. But this chapter and this song and the message in here is that we are the ones that are responsible for what happens in our life. At the end of our life, at the end of the day, we are the ones responsible for what we accomplish, what we do in this world, or what we don't do. And in this book, my whole message in there is that you get one of these. Nobody else on your deathbed is going to be responsible for the things that you accomplish in your life other than the person that you look at every day in the mirror. That's it. So for me, I wasn't personally calling people out or literally blaming them, but I was blaming them because I was not responsible or taking responsibility for it. I was unhappy. Victor, you're absolutely right. I was unhappy. I was miserable at work. I took it out on my employees, and the employees ended up taking it out on the customers, and that ended up leading to probably, people not coming back, not being happy. So I was responsible for that. Nobody else. It wasn't my job. The job that I was in, it was a great job. Most people would be happy. I should have been happy, but I wasn't. Why not? Had nothing to do with anyone else. Had nothing to do with my employees. Had nothing to do with my job, my boss, my friends. No one. Had nothing to do with anyone else but myself. I had to realize that, though. I had to realize that it was an inside job. This is an inside job, guys. Everything that gets emitted on the outside comes from the inside, and I wasn't happy inside. I was the one who had made the decisions. I was the one who made the choices that led to my failures. So this chapter in and of itself is one of the most important ones. Roxanne, I know that you couldn't make it this morning. Sorry I was late. But that's it. I mean, we all want more in life, I think. I'm pretty sure that we all want more in life. We all want to do more in life. We all want to be able to see more. We want to have a better life. We all want more. But it's just not going to happen. And I was, whatever, maybe wishing on a star. I don't know. But I do know that all of my mistakes and all of my failures, regardless of anything else that happened, regardless of the situation that I was born into, whatever the situation you were born into, or whatever it is, you are responsible. I was responsible for what my life looked like. Nobody else. So if I wasn't happy, I needed to change me. I didn't need anything else to change. Outside circumstances, you could have handed me $1 million, but would that have made me happy? No, I wasn't happy. I needed to change the person that I looked at the mirror every single morning. I needed to change that person. And that's why this chapter for me, that's why I didn't want to to do this real quick in the car, although some of these might be done from the car, but today, like, this chapter is what did it for me. This is where the light bulb kind of went off, like, hello, McFly, you know, and for those too young, Marty McFly was, you know, from Back to the Future movies, but yeah, this is it. You know, the light bulb went off. You need to change. I need to change. I needed to change if I wanted to see my life change. If I wanted things to be different for me, I needed to change. It's the one thing I control. It's the one thing we all could. The only thing that we have control over is ourselves, our thoughts. Change my thinking, change how I thought about myself, change how I viewed myself. And then in turn, change the decisions that I was making that were causing me to have the problems that I had in life. Nobody else. So whatever situation you are in right now, Josiah, good to have you here, my man. Guy's an animal. He's doing big things out west in Colorado. If you get a chance to check him out, he's going to be at Grant Cardone's 10X. The guy's unbelievable. He's doing big things. He's changing people's lives. That's what I'm here for, to hopefully try and change people's lives. And in this chapter in the book is one that I think we all need to get. We all need to get a good grasp of this, and that is that we are responsible for the lives that we're leading right now. We're responsible for what happens in our lives. Nobody else. Just us. And when I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw, I knew that I had to change me. I had to change what I was doing if I ever wanted to change any other aspect of my life. You're absolutely right, Josiah. Change your mindset, change your life. Change the way you think, and you'll change your life. But I needed to understand that nobody was going to change it for me. Nobody was going to change my thoughts for you. Nobody is going to change the job that you're in, the situation that you're in, unless you change yourself. The man or woman that you look at in the mirror every day is the sole purpose and the sole person responsible for where you are at in life. So guys, I know that was a little long-winded. That's my message for you today. That's the 4th chapter of the book, Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. And the next couple chapters, I mean, the rest of it all builds kind of off of, you know, the first few chapters led up to this chapter, which is Man in the Mirror. And Man in the Mirror is the one that kind of is the catalyst and springboard for the rest of the book. It wasn't, I couldn't get anything else in any of the other chapters would not make sense had I not listened to the words in MJ's song, Man in the Mirror. One of the most powerful songs ever, in my eyes. For me, everyone's different. Everyone is different. But for me, this was my playlist. Maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you'll find your own. But Man in the Mirror slapped me in the face and said, look it, buddy. Look at yourself. And you'll find the answer. Look at yourself. Look in the mirror. And you will find the answer for all of your problems. I absolutely will, Josiah, no doubt. So guys, that's all I've got for you today. Tomorrow we'll get into chapter 5. I will be on my more normal, regular time, right around 7:30 or 8 o'clock Eastern time. And if you guys have any comments, concerns, message me. Throw comments in, share the video, whatever I can do to help. I'm here to help out any way, shape, or form I can. I hope today's message got through. I hope you were able to relate to it. I hope it made sense. And I will look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning. Hope you have a great Thursday. I'm out.